Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So I saw a video by Trap House, and I just heard 78's video on this. I saw this on Trap House video yesterday, and I immediately got on the phone. I called WBC. Obviously, I called the Porters, and I called so many people in boxing. And what I gather is it's all about the money. And it's hard when I have to toggle or the line or stay on that that single beam and try and be honest with the fans and try and do my due diligence as a media member. And it's just sad when a WBC can say, pay me $50,000, pay me $100,000, pay me $80,000, whatever they charge for this. I don't know how much they charge for their sanctioning fees. And say, this entitles you to your position. And then you wake up months later and realize you just got hustled. It's like the dope game when someone sells you something fake and tells you that it's real. You go sell it, and then your customers tell you, come back, this ain't shit. Then you go back and tell your dude, like, blah blah blah, and you got to take it because he is in charge, and one, he has an army around him, and there's nothing you can do to defeat that army in that moment. Now what you have to do is continuously apply pressure. So the next drug dealer, the dude around the corner that steals buy drugs, and you tell, hey, no, we ain't buying no more drugs from him, man. He dirty. Then you tell the next, and then next thing you know, he appeases. And that's the same thing with the WBC, man. You have to continuously apply pressure. I would advise everyone, if you hear my voice, go to their website and leave a voicemail and ask them what the hell is going on. Because here's what happens. If we just consistently tolerate this shit, we won't get the fights we want. We'll get the fights that the money buys. And I know I've spoken about the business of boxing, but I also want what's right. Right? I want what's right. I want what's right by the fans and what's right by boxing. And it's just no way on God's green earth when you fight two title eliminators. I'm speaking of Sean Porter. And I know 99% of us can agree on this. When you fight two title eliminators, Andre Berto, Adrian Granados, you wake up and you realize an opponent that has taken a year off, close to a year off, gets jumped up before you after defeating Brandon Rios. That tells you it's about the money. It's disgusting. WBC, I'll see the WBC when I get to New York. I'll call the Suleimans again and see if I can get a hold of them. Or someone affiliated with them. I'll call them again today. It went to voicemail yesterday. But it's just awful when they can say, you got to pay me to fight, and whatever I say is subjective to change. You know how you see at the bottom of your fight card, it says card subject to change? Well, when you pay your sanctioning fees, promises subject to change. And it's just a bad idea, man. It's just an awful idea. And I want to get to some technicalities. If you look at the WBC rankings, you look at the IBF rankings, I'm going to use Sean Porter as the example because, these are just facts. And it's just what I believe. We say we don't want these fights. Let me tell you something. The business of boxing don't want these fights. You understand what I'm saying? It gets to a point where I would tell Deontay Wilder, you don't have to fight for a belt anymore. If you can't get Anthony Joshua within the next 2, maybe 3 fights, you don't need the WBC belt. Give it to Dominic Brazil. Give it to him. Give it to him. And you can still fight for $2 or $3 million. Because I can guarantee you, if you fight in Brooklyn, New York, or in Alabama, you can sell the motherfucker out and save the 50. I don't know how much you pay for sanctioning fees. You can get your money without paying those fees. So I just want to say, boxing fans, call the WBC, call the IBF, call the WBO, WBA when you have a problem, because your voices needs to be heard, and it's just not fair. It's literally not fair. And just take it a step further, Sean Porter is a silver champion because I took a picture with the belt. You know what I mean? I was actually in the locker room with the belt. And you go to my Instagram feed around that time, you'll see it. You understand what I'm saying? Sean was, and something needs to be done. But as long as boxing fans tolerate this and accept it, I mean, facts are facts. You know what I mean? And if Sean Porter was a #1 IBF challenge, I would be saying the same thing. He deserves to beat I, because you guys, oh, he's ducking. Ain't nobody ducking nobody. Because I know what's going on behind the scenes in real life, and sometimes sometimes I can't say everything because of my relationship, so I choose not to. But the #1 in WBA, look at the rankings. If you don't look at the rankings and say, why aren't, listen, actually someone DM'd me this week. Why aren't the top 5 fighters in the world in the welterweight division all ranked? They maybe have different numbers, but why aren't they all ranked in the top 5? It's money, guys. That's the reason. Money. But anyways, man, we'll see what happens. Keith Thurman just got the golden ticket. If Danny Garcia is #1, guess what might happen? Guess what Keith Thurman might do? Remember, they haven't announced an opponent yet for Keith Thurman. Guess what Keith Thurman might say? You know what? I could fight Danny Garcia. And then that's going to piss the boxing fans off, right? Well, if you could fight Danny Garcia and don't need a tune-up, why didn't you fight Earl Spence? Why didn't you fight Sean Porter? All right? They have yet to announce an opponent. So I don't know if they're going to push his May date back. I have no idea, but we'll have to sit back and see. But anyways, man, Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and talk to you guys real soon. Peace.